Alright, in this video, I'm going to give you the beginner's guide to Google Ads in 2024. I'm going to take you right from the very beginning of making a brand new Google Ads account to setting up a campaign and everything you need to do if this is your first time setting up Google Ads, and all the things you need to avoid and all the things you need to know so that you can actually do this correctly. So the first thing you want to do is sign into the Google account that you want to use with your Google Ads, because you're going to have to make a Google Ads account with the Google Gmail or other Google account you're using. And then you want to go to ads.google.com. I'll put a link to that in the description below. That's the URL to go to Google Ads, and you will see this page here. So you want to click Start Now, where you're going to make a new account, and it's going to take you to the sign up page here. Now, the very first thing you need to know is you need to skip the smart campaign thing. What's going to happen is Google's going to try and get you to make a smart campaign, which is basically a very dumbed down version of Google Ads that it thinks is going to make your life easier. But the problem is it removes all control and it starts bidding on all kinds of keywords that have nothing to do with what you're offering. Trust me, I have never seen a smart campaign outperform a campaign like I'm going to show you in this video. If you think that it's going to actually help you make it easier, you're just going to be wasting money. I would almost rather you not run a smart campaign at all if you don't want to do this or you can't afford to pay someone to set it up properly, because it really is just going to waste your money. However, what you do is this: you'll get taken to this screen here. Just click skip campaign. Basically, we want to try and bypass all of the things it's trying to get us to do, and then you'll get taken here to confirm your business information. Just put in the information that matters. You would hit continue, and now it's going to ask you for your billing details, so you just need to enter those. You can see here you got the New Zealand time, the country, so you would select your appropriate country, and now you need to enter all of this information in here. Basically, you can't edit automatic payments. That's just the only option they give you. You need to put in your card details and then accept the terms and conditions. So I'm just going to put my details in quickly, and then what you'd have is you have this. Now, I highly recommend that you click no on this, and the reason why is because Google has their experts call you all the time and try and insist that you make changes to your account which is supposed to improve the performance. The problem is they don't improve the performance. In fact, they usually decrease the performance and just get you to spend more money. So I would highly recommend you click no on this, and if they do call you and claim that they're here to consult with you on the Google Ads, I would recommend you don't do, personally wouldn't even take the phone calls, but I wouldn't do what they're recommending, because typically speaking, they're going to recommend things that are not going to perform well, and I've seen this experience over and over again with basically everybody. So just hit no on that one, and here hit no as well on this one, unless you want the promos and tips. Personally, I don't bother, but you can just, you hit yes if you want, but I'm going to hit no. And now you're going to have your Google Ads account made. So now you can actually go into your account and make a proper campaign instead of the smart one they try and get you to do. So the first thing that you want to do is you go here, and you're going to obviously have to make a new campaign. So you will want to hit new campaign, and now here is where you need to follow the steps I'm going to show you. So there's a lot of things with Google that you can actually do with Google Ads. You can run YouTube ads, you can run display ads, you can run shopping ads, and all these different types of ads. If you're just new and you're just starting out, odds are you're probably just wanting to run Google search ads, which is what I'm going to show you in this video. If you're wanting to run Google shopping ads, I'll put a link in the description above how to set up a Google shopping campaign. I've shown you how to do that. It's a little bit more of an in-depth process because you need to link your merchant center and the products and things like that, but I show you how to do all of those things if that's what you're doing. If you're just running regular search ads, then I'll show you how to do that in this video. All the other ones are more complex, and if you're new to Google Ads, I wouldn't recommend messing around with them, because you really need to know what you're doing to actually get results. So start with the search ad and then go from there if you want to invest more time into learning it. So on this screen, what I recommend you do is just hit create a campaign without goals guidance, because I'm going to show you what you need to do. So hit that, and then here you want to hit search. So all these other ones are for different types of ads. You don't want to really mess around with that right now. Just hit search and just start there. Trust me on that one. And what you want to do is you want to hit website visits, and here you need to enter your website URL. So I'm just going to take mine and paste it in there, and then here you need to select what conversions you want this account to focus on. Now, we haven't set any conversions up yet. You can do this later, and I have videos showing you how to do this. I'm going to put a link to my video above where you can go watch how to set up conversions if you want to do all that. You can run a clicks campaign without conversions, which is what I'm going to show you here in this video to get you going, and typically they do get you decent results if you've set everything up correctly, so you can just do it that way. So for now, you can just leave all of this empty, and you can call your campaign whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to use the example of law firm. Let's say we're doing family law for this campaign, so we'll just do family law. We'll go, I typically name it what the campaign is for, then where it's targeting. So in this case, I'll just put Auckland, and then what type of bidding strategy. So in this case, clicks, for maximize clicks. I'll explain what all that that means in a minute, but that's basically the naming convention I use. And then you can also, if you want to know what date you started it, you can put the date as well. And then that keeps your account clean and tidy, and you know exactly what campaign is for what it's targeting and so on with a glance. You don't have to go in there. I've seen people name them all kinds of weird things. No one knows what's going on. Everyone gets confused. If you keep it tidy from the beginning, you're going to have much better results overall managing this account. So you now hit continue. Okay, so you're going to have to select a conversion for this, or a goal. So what I'm going to do is just hit contact for now, because we're going to try and get leads with this one. Typically speaking, you'll be getting leads if you're not running a shopping campaign. So we'll go with this. And we'll click that for now, and then we'll just go continue. I would leave this on, the enhanced conversion tracking, leave that one on. And now with the bidding, I would recommend that you click clicks. The reason why is because maximize clicks is a pretty unbiased way of doing it. If you do maximize conversions, you actually need conversion data in the account for it to be able to optimize for conversions, and you also need to have set up conversions as well. We haven't done that yet, so we'll just hit clicks for now and leave it there. I recommend you leave this on its own at the beginning and just let it run and see what it's actually going to cost you per click to actually get clicks. Keep as many settings off as possible in the beginning so that you can give it like an unbiased way to run as much as it can, and then from there you can optimize. So you'd hit next. Now I would highly recommend you untick these. These are typically just a waste of money and get lower quality traffic. You just want to run it solely on Google search. That's where you're going to get the best results. Now under locations, you want to set whatever area you want to target. So for instance, if you want to target a particular city or town or whatever, you would type that in. Let's say I want to do Auckland. I'm just going to target that. You would select that. You can do multiple. If you also want to target a different town or city or whatever, you can do more than one. And now under here where it says location options, you want to click this, and I highly recommend you click presence. The reason why is because presence or interest will show it to people who might not be there but are looking for it. So let's say for instance I'm a law firm in Auckland and someone in Sydney, which is in Australia, is searching for family lawyer Auckland. The odds that they're actually going to use my service are much lower than people who are actually in New Zealand. So I would highly recommend that you just search presence, because you want the people in your particular area to find your ads and not necessarily clicks from other countries or other areas you don't service. Here you would obviously set your language. I'm going to leave it to English. Audience segments for now, I recommend you just leave this as it is. Just don't touch that, and you can just leave it. It's not particularly relevant for what we're doing right now. That's a more advanced strategy you can get into later if you want to, but you don't have to. Here for broad match keywords, I would also leave that off. Now just check the more settings. What I recommend you do here is you click on do not optimize, because what happens is you'll make some ads and Google will just prioritize one of them quickly, and then the other ones won't have a chance to run properly, and you won't know for sure which ad's the best performer. I like to let them run on their own, so I have manual control over it, and then I can go in and adjust accordingly. So I recommend you leave do not optimize. However, if you click optimize, it's not going to destroy the performance of your campaign. You can do that, but my recommendation is click do not. And then here, the last thing I would recommend you look at is ad schedules. So if you are trying to get phone calls through your website and you're only open certain hours of the day, you want to make sure that you've only set your open hours here. Because what can happen is if you're taking phone calls and somebody, let's say, calls at 5 p.m. and somebody at 6 or 7 p.m. searches it up, they click on your website, you pay for that click, they land on there, they try and call you, you don't answer the phone, and now you've just paid for that click and that lead, which you didn't end up getting. So you want to make sure that your ad is only showing at times where you can actually get it. If you take emails or contact form, then you can basically leave it at all times. So those are the only settings I recommend that you actually mess with. Everything else, I would just leave it, and then I would hit next. And now here is where you input your ad group and the keywords that you want your ad to show for. So what that means is Google Ads on search works on the premise of somebody types in a word. Let's say for this example where it's showing mine, it says Google Ads Agency. And what will happen is if someone types in Google Ads Agency, your ad shows. And so you can search what words you want your ad to show for when people search them, and also how closely related their search needs to be for the word you put in here. So I have a whole video on keyword research. I'm going to put a link above. I highly recommend you go watch that. It's not as complicated as it sounds. I break it down in that video into a simple way that you can put this together so that you get the best performance from your account. And I also show you how to organize your ad groups in your account so that you get the best results. So I really recommend you go watch that video. It's going to make a huge difference to the performance of your campaign. Basically, what you would do here is you want to name the ad group whatever this one is. So let's say this one is for family law. Let's say you do another one for divorce lawyers. So you can name that one divorce lawyer, whatever. And then in here, you would enter your keywords. So if you're just starting out, like I said, go watch my keyword research video. However, what what I recommend you do is you start off with phrase match keywords and keep them as tight as you can to what you're doing. So in this case, if it's a family lawyer, what you would do is you would set phrase match. So you do that by putting the apostrophes, and that would be family lawyer. And then what this means is that technically your ad should only show if somebody searches something with the words family lawyer in their search. And then that's going to help keep it as relevant as you can. If you want to make it the exact keyword, meaning people have to search family lawyer exactly, you would put these square brackets and type in family lawyer and then end it. And then that means that would only show for that exact keyword. Now, that's not strictly true. Google has been getting more and more broad and how closely related the keywords need to be, but you have some control still over it, so I recommend you do this. However, exact match, which is this one, tends to be quite tight, and it's not, unless you know what you're doing, it can eliminate a lot of the potential clicks you could be getting that are relevant. So I recommend you start with phrase match, which is the one with the apostrophes, and put a couple of variations of the keywords in here and then see how that goes, and then you can adjust from there. If you want to run broad match, which I would not recommend in the beginning because it's just simply too wide, you would type in family lawyer like this with no brackets, no apostrophes, and that would make it broad match. And basically that means it would show up for anything Google thinks is even remotely relevant to family lawyer, which is typically not what you want to do. So I recommend you don't do that in the beginning, but that's how you would do it. So you'd go through this list, you'd use the keyword research video I showed, and you would get your keywords and you would put them in here for this ad group, the first ad group. And now you scroll down and you've got the actual ad itself. So here is where you actually make the ad. So what you want to do here first is you want to put the URL that you want the ad to go to. So this would be the exact page on your website that is what you're advertising for. So in this case, let's say this was a law firm ad. You would want to have this going to the family lawyer page or whatever page you've set up. Typically, if you haven't got dedicated landing pages and if you're a beginner, you'll probably just have a website with your services. You would want to send them to the main service page for whatever that is. So like I said, for family law ads, I would send them to a family law page. And then you would put that exact page URL in here. Now you've got the display path, and this is basically just the URL that shows up in Google. So on the ad itself, you can see up here in this example, if I adjust this and type in family lawyer, you can see how now it's going to show up here in the example as my website / family lawyer. So that's just trying to make this ad more relevant for the specific keyword. It doesn't actually adjust where your ad is going to go to. It's just having the keyword in the URL to make it relevant to users. So you want to get that in there and keep your main keyword in here because it's going to help people get their attention and get them to click. Now, this is where you adjust your headlines, which are the main big blue headlines you can see here. So I'm going to remove all of these because they always suggest some, but they're usually rubbish. And what I would recommend you do is you put some variations in here. Now, what I like to do is I will actually pin the first one to number 1, pin the second one to number 2, and pin the third one to number 3. And what this means is that these now have to show in this order exactly how I've written them. If you don't pin them and they're just like this, basically Google's going to rotate them as it sees fit and just show whatever it thinks is going to work best. But in my experience, that doesn't perform as well as doing it manually this way. If you even have a remote idea of what you're doing and then putting the right keywords in and then optimizing these ads. So what you would do is you would pin these like this. You would make 3 variations of this ad in each ad group, and you would change something about these headlines slightly and then see which one works best. And then once you see which one works best after, let's say, a month or so, you could pause the ones that are not working as well, keep running the ones that are working better, and then make a new ad based on the best ones and change something else and try and improve it. That's the process you would go to try and optimize this account, at least in terms of the ads. So in this case, I always like to put the main keyword as the first headline. So in this case, it would be family lawyer in Auckland, and you can put some variation of that in there. You could do like, let's say, best family lawyer, although sometimes they won't let you use words like best, but you can try and see what happens. Or you can put like expert family lawyer or specialist family lawyer, something like that, to try and get the keyword in here and make it interesting and make people want to click it. And now on the second one, I recommend you include some kind of call to action. So book free consult now, something along those lines to get people to take an action. And I usually have that in the second headline to make sure that it shows up. And then in the third headline, you can just put another variation to try and get them to click. The thing is, you have to remember is that the third headline doesn't always show. Sometimes Google only shows the first 2. So you got to be aware that whatever you put here might not actually show up. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to put any vital information in the headline 3 because it might not show. So here you would just do like all types of family law. Let's say, for instance, that could be the third headline, and then it'll show up like this. So you can see here that Google's showing it that it's not even going to show the second headline here. That does happen sometimes. So that's how I would leave it. I would have the 1, 2, 3 and just leave them like that, and then make another variation, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. And then here you've got descriptions. Now, similar to the titles, what happens here is that Google will rotate these. So what I like to do is I like to remove that, and I'll just put 2, pin 1 and pin 2, and now I can set whatever I want here, and it'll show it in this exact order. So, you know, something like we specialize in all types of family law in Auckland. Call us. Now, basically, you just want to reiterate what you're saying, what you're offering. If you can put some kind of incentive, you want to put it in there, get some kind of attention. These descriptions are not the most important thing on the ad. I don't think most people even read them truly. I think the headlines are much more important, but you just want to include something in there. Now, what you do want to do is include the keyword, because what happens is it'll show up bold if you include the exact keyword in your description. So if we go to Google and type in family lawyer, you can see here that family lawyer is showing up in bold. That's what you want to do. That will happen in your ad as well, so that's why you want to include it if you can. It just helps to grab people's attention. So you just want to have that description, and the second description, get a free 30-minute consultation now. We can help you get the best outcome. I'm just coming up with this off the top of my head, but that's an example of something you can put in a description and then it will show up. And now you can add a bunch of extensions to these ads as well. So for instance, if you want to add your business name and logo, you can do the advertiser verification, and then that will allow you to actually add your business name and logo to this ad as well and make it look a bit more professional. You just have to go through this process. You just fill out some details. It's actually quite easy. You can also add site links to different pages on your website. So you would click add site links, and here you can create them. And what you would do is you would have, like, let's say divorce lawyer, and then that would go to like the divorce page. You would paste URL in /divorce, for instance. And you could also put descriptions here up to 35 characters, you know, like we specialize in all types of divorce, etc. This is just an example, but you can have that in there as well. You can add site link 2, site link 3. Try and keep these as related to the topic of the ad as you can. So if it's family law, you have like divorce, child custody, whatever. If it's like a mechanic, you can maybe have the different types of cars to the different pages, things like that, and you could link them there. If you have nothing else, and you can just do like about us, contact us, and some generic pages, you're better off having something than nothing, because it does take up more space with the ad, which helps with your click-through rate. But try and keep it relevant, because it'll help get you more keywords and things like that. So once you're done with those, you just hit create, and then you would tick them here and hit save, and then it would add them to the ad. Now there's a few more asset types you can create as well. So for instance, callouts. Callouts are just text that you put in here. So it would be like, you know, free 30-minute consult, experts in family law, things like that, right? And you would just put a couple of them in, and it's just going to show that on the end of the description in the ad as well. So that helps to just get more attention and take up more space. And then you would hit them here and just hit save and apply, and it will apply to your ad. You can also add things like promotions, prices, calls, which is a phone number. So you can add your particular phone number to the ad. You just put the phone number in here. You can leave that as it is, and then you would hit save, and then that would add the phone number so people can click the phone number and call you. You can add structured snippets, which are basically like a price, for instance, or a brand. You can have brand, and then you could put like brand 1, brand 2, brand 3, and then that'll show here as well the different brands that you offer, or let's say whatever these other things, like different models, different styles, whatever you want to include in here. You can put that in here as well. You can include lead forms. If you want a form that they can fill out right there, you can include that as well. So typically when I do these, what I'll have is I'll have the business name, I'll have the site links, I'll have call outs. I might have a promotion if the business is running something. I'll have a price if there are prices that the business has. I'll definitely have the call, phone number. I might have structured snippets. Typically, I don't do the lead form, but you can do that if you want. And then apps I don't usually have, but you can add these as well. So you can play around with these and see if you want to add anything in here. Like if you have an app, you can put it here, but I typically don't use that. And then that's basically it for these. You can also typically add images as well to these ads. So I'll show you how to do that in a bit. What we'll do for now is just hit done, and this will save this particular ad. It'll save this ad group, and then we'll just hit next. And so now what you want to do is add your budget for this campaign. So I'm just going to put $1, but basically this is going to be the daily budget that you would expect to pay every day. So every week it'll cost you $7. So every month it'll cost you $28 if we're counting 4 weeks. Now what happens here is that sometimes this might go over and sometimes this might go under, but Google will average it out over the 30-day period so that you don't pay more than whatever it would cost over 30 days. So in this case it would be $30. You won't pay more than that per month, but at some days it might go up or down just depending on what Google think will get you the best results. So just don't panic if it's a little bit over or a bit under. That's normal. So you just want to set the budget and then hit next. And now if there's no errors, it's just going to check for errors and make sure everything's okay. Now that it's done that, you can now publish your campaign, and then that's it. Once it's published, now Google will just go through and just check it, make sure it's okay, just approve everything, and then it will actually run the campaign once it's approved. That typically takes 24 hours. I'm just going to pause mine because I don't want this to run, but you get the idea. Now, what I want to show you is once you've got it running, you've got now your campaign here. What you want to do is go in here and you would want to go here and make a new ad group. So let's say you got family law. You also want to run like divorce law or child custody or let's say a different type of law like property law. You could go in here and create a new ad group. So you'd hit the plus button, or you could copy the other one and you would go through the same process. So now it would be property law. You would add your keywords here. So property lawyer, hit save and continue. Now you can make your property law ad. Exactly the same process you go through here. I'm just going to hit cancel, but it's exactly the same process as before. You'd go through there and then you would hit save, and then that would create your new ad group. And that's how you would make all the different ad groups. Now, when you go into the ad group, you can see the keywords that you added. You can also go into ads here as well. Now, this is where you would want to go here. And like I mentioned, make a few variations. So what you'd want to do is hit copy. So you click this and you hit edit, copy, and then hit edit, paste. And you would paste a copy of this ad and make another version of it. So just make sure you select the correct campaign and ad group, hit done. You want to hit this. If an ad already exists in the destination, create duplicate, and you want to hit paste. And now you can see you've got 2 versions of the exact same ad. This is the new one here. So if you're ever going to make any changes to an ad, I recommend you do this so that you can keep the data on the old one and then compare with the new one. Because if you just edit it, you're not going to know what exactly is the data between the new one and the old one. You can't do a proper comparison. So what you want to do is do this. And now let's say on this one, you'd want to make some kind of variation. So for instance, let's say you've got these headlines. You might want to test out a different headline here. So, you know, here you got book a free consult. You might want to do free 30-minute consultation. So a slightly different thing, or maybe it's a completely different offer. You know, I don't know what else you might be offering, but you could test out a different one here. Try this out because little variations like that can actually make a big difference, and you'd be surprised how one ad will just completely outperform the other with just a slightly different headline. So that's what you want to do. You want to make as many of these as you can. I believe it lets you make 3 at the moment. So what you would want to do is you'd have 3 active ads in here with a different variation. So you would copy this one again, paste that, paste it in the same place, click that again, hit paste. And now it's going to create another copy, and then you can make the 3rd variation. So you do this in every ad group, and that's going to help you to have different ads running to see what works better, what doesn't, and then you can optimize from there. So you'd want to do that across the whole account as many times as possible, and that's basically it. So once you've done that, that's basically it. You can now run your campaign, and it's going to run, it'll show your ads, you'll start getting clicks, you'll start, you know, hopefully getting leads and conversions if it's been targeted correctly and everything. And then from there, you can further optimize. So that's it for the beginner's guide. This is how you get started and how you launch your Google ads. From here, you'd want to set up the conversions. Like I said, I've got that video. I'll put a link below. And you'll also want to optimize this account, which I've got a video on as well. I'm going to show you how to optimize that. So I'm going to put a link to the optimization video above. You can go watch that, or the link will also be in the description. So you can go watch that. After a while of running this ad or this campaign, you'd want to come in and optimize it based on the steps I showed you in that video. So that's really it. Now your ads should be running and you should be good to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below and I will answer them. Otherwise, if you want me to coach you on how to do Google ads and SEO for only $49 a month, go to learndominatemarketing.com. Otherwise, if you'd like us to do the Google ads or SEO for you, go to dominatemarketing.io, book a call with us there. Catch you on the next one.